Hello, General George, King George III. I'm delighted to meet you both. I understand you're here to work through some of your conflicts. Everyone should be as brave as you to ask for help managing your emotions. My loving wife, Martha, made me attend this, whatever this is. I didn't want to because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to pay for the session and be taxed on it too.
Yes. Well, my German princess, Charlotte, and my 15 children said I was being intolerable, so I had no choice but to be here.
Okay, well, where should we start? Tell me a little bit about when your conflict started. Well, I was once on the king's side and bravely fought for him and Great Britain in the 7 Years' War. It was from 1754 to 1763. It was after we won the war that all the problems started. Well, to be clear, we were in one war or another for 50 years. But I suppose he is quite right. It was after the 7 Years' War, which involved almost every country in Europe and even extended all the way to India. It was a remarkable win as I became the ruler of the world's greatest empire. How quickly you have forgotten that your success was thanks to me. I was a loyal British citizen living in America, and we colonial soldiers from the 13 colonies fought valiantly against France for control over North America. And we won the French territories only to be told that you and the British Parliament made it illegal for the colonists to settle in our new territory that we won for you. Oh, it sounds like you're angry, General George. Can I serve you a good cup of English tea to help you calm down? Some sugar? Oh. No. I don't want any English tea, and not with sugar. I'll probably have to pay my life savings and taxes for that. Okay, Your Majesty. Let's hear from you. What is your perspective on this conflict? I sent the colonists money and soldiers to help them with that war. I was in debt up to my crown. Did you think I would send help without ever asking you to help pay for it? Besides, we made it illegal for you to settle in the new territory because the Native Americans have always lived and hunted there. It is only fair to reserve those lands for them, and it was meant to keep the colonists safe from native attacks. And what did you do? You uncivilized people moved into the West anyway. You should have listened to me. Now I am paying for our British soldiers to protect you in the frontier. That cost money, General. Only fair? We are British citizens and should have rights to settle in the territory we fought for you. We should have rights to vote on the taxes you have passed. You spent the 6 years from 1764 to 1770 passing taxes. You passed the Sugar Act, taxing sugar and molasses, and the Stamp Act, taxing marriage licenses and newspapers and all sorts of other paper items requiring an official stamp. You pompous king. We already have to pay our own taxes here in America for our debts from the war and to keep this country running. We shouldn't have to pay double. Okay, let's calm down, George and George. Calm down? Calm down? We're British citizens, and the British Constitution guarantees us the rights of Englishmen. It's against the British Constitution to have to pay taxes without voting on it. I'm sure you're aware that James Otis stated that taxation without representation is tyranny. So to clarify, you're saying the British Parliament is a cruel, oppressive, and unreasonable government. Oh, rubbish. Many colonists are loyal to me and the Parliament, and they aren't saying we are cruel or complaining about paying taxes one bit. That's because some are afraid you will hurt their families in England. It's tyranny, I tell you. All right, so the two of you disagree about the new territory and about the fairness of taxes. Tell me what you did to solve the conflict. I'll tell you what those uncivilized Americans have done. They refused to buy British goods. The Patriots spread their propaganda everywhere, inciting anger from the colonists. The Sons of Liberty stripped my royal offices naked and tarred and feathered them. Uncivilized, these people. They burned the stamps on every colony and flew the flags at half-mast. General, can you tell the king why you would fly the flags at half-mast? We were mourning the loss of liberty. Yes, and you bullied me into repealing the taxes. You got your way. But your parliament just taxed us more. Well, they are noblemen, and God has given them and me the right to rule, so you must obey. It is divine right, after all. Uh-huh. So then what happened? Well, the Parliament took away our right to meet in our American legislatures. So we met anyway and banned the sale of all items taxed by Great Britain. I may or may not have been a part of that. The Daughters of Liberty supported the cause by weaving their own cloth, making dresses, and brewing their own tea. Liberty tea. Although it wasn't as good as English tea. But we patriots did what we had to do. Patriots? Those so-called patriots in Massachusetts were not more than criminals breaking laws. In 1768, I had to send a fleet of warships with 700 soldiers to Boston to keep them in line. Keep the patriots in line? That's absurd. Your soldiers caused quite a ruckus when they were off duty. They stole things, got drunk, raced horses under the church windows on Sunday. Oh, and then in 1770, remember? There was the bloody massacre. Hey, Georges. It sounds like things are getting pretty heated. How about we just breathe through this, okay? A bloody massacre? You mean where the patriots in Boston threw snowballs and were taunting my soldiers? You mean where the patriots in Boston threw snowballs and were taunting your soldiers? Your soldiers began firing into a crowd of innocent people. It was a bloody massacre. That was pure propaganda spread about by the Sons of Liberty to enrage the citizens of Boston. Only 5 people were killed. That's not a massacre. And meanwhile, I was back in London trying to keep the peace by getting rid of all the taxes, except the one on tea. Would you both please calm down? Let's have some tea. Okay. No. I will not drink English tea. I prefer the kind we smuggled from Holland or not at all. I have refused to drink British tea since 1773, when the Prime Minister proclaimed that we could only drink British East Indian tea. He was only trying to save the company and set the tea prices lower than any other teas sold in Great Britain or in America. It was tempting, as we all love a good cup of tea, but again, you didn't let us vote on it. It's taxation without representation all over again. The governor of Massachusetts declared that you colonists had to pay taxes on the tea, or it would sit in ships in the Boston Harbor until you did. But you still didn't cooperate, you uncivilized Americans. You just let the tea rot in warehouses or sent it back to us. The Sons of Liberty dressed like Mohawk Indians. They snuck aboard 3 ships loaded with tea. Hundreds of witnesses gathered around while they dumped 342 chests of British tea. I didn't really agree with the Boston Tea Party, but at least the fish enjoyed the tea and they didn't have to pay taxes on it. Clearly, you Americans are nothing but a race of convicts and criminals. You had to be punished. And punish you did. With the intolerable acts. Those poor people in Boston had no jobs because you ordered nothing to go in or out of the port. It's no wonder the Bostonians were thinking about war. Oh dear. And what is your perspective on that, General George? I was ready to pay for 1,000 men out of my own money to march to Boston to help. But we met in 1774. Yeah, 1774, as delegates from all 13 of our colonies for the first time at the Continental Congress in Philadelphia. I was proud to be one of the delegates. We sent the king a message that we wanted peace and harmony. We suggested that he get rid of all the unconstitutional laws controlling America. We wanted representation in Parliament to have a vote and a say in laws that affected us. We told the king we wouldn't buy any British goods and we wouldn't send any goods to England until they gave us what we deserved. Such nonsense from the uncivilized colonists and from you, General. Oh boy, this does not sound like there is a resolution in sight. However, we're going to need to stop for today, okay? But I'd really like the two of you to really breathe through this, to breathe through your anger. Maybe try some yoga. Yoga? Oh, is that a new brand of tea? Will we have to pay taxes on that? Yoga? Wait, we didn't even talk about the war. Okay, we'll have to save that for next time. Okay, George and George. Oh, rubbish. I'll tell you what those uncivilized... Oh. Cut. I'm supposed to talk to the therapist. I'll tell you what those uncivilized Americans have done. They have refused to bribe... I'll tell you what those uncivilized Americans have done. They have refused to bribe British... We told the king we would not buy any British goods and we would not send any England I think Zoom has frozen me. We sent the king a text that we wanted tea. Hundreds of witnesses gathered around while they dumped 342 chests of British cheese. The very last word. My loving wife, Martha, who made me do this and dressed me in this ridiculous outfit. Revolutionary rebel. I've always wanted to do this. Like, be an actor. I'm gonna turn my cat backwards and get real.